census that is meant to come up on May the 3rd. Just in about how many days now? 5 days. It's meant to come up on Wednesday. But so far, it looks like there's some silence from the National Population Commission, which is meant to chair or at least spearhead this whole process. They were meant to get a final approval from the governors, at least that's what the commission said. But so far, there's been no update regarding that. So the big question is, will that happen or not? That on the one hand. But regarding the sensitization, how Nigerians are anticipating this, whether or not they even know what to do or how this will happen. We're joined on the program this evening by Professor Tony Iredia. He's a former Director General of the National Orientation Agency, also a former Director General of the Nigerian Television Authority, as well as other caps he's had to wear in the past. Good evening, Professor, and thank you for joining us on the program.
Thank you very much, Coyote.
I mean, we apologize for having to, drag you out, but this is a matter of national importance. And you wrote something quite brilliant about the coming census, and that caught my attention, and I imagine for a lot of Nigerians. This census is coming after the elections, which was quite controversial for a lot of people. Questions about trust in, government institutions. And it has been said that the best way to actually build trust is to communicate appropriately. I haven't seen the build-up to this census. Last was in 2006, so some will say we've had ample time. What would you say about the orientation? I mean, you are someone who's had decades of experience in this.
Well, thank you very much, Coyote. I actually wrote the article you referred to because I thought that the National Orientation Agency had not been properly integrated into the system of the census, because if you have a policy that people don't understand or people did not even hear about, the policy is as good as gone. And I think that is one of the problems African societies have. They do not recognize the need for effective publicity of public policies. When policies are not properly publicized, people are left in the dark. It's not just about when it is happening. It's not just about how it is going to happen. It's also about the role that the citizen ought to play to ensure that the policy is successful. For example, a good citizen who knows what the National Population Commission business is all about will be patriotic enough to stop non-Nigerians living in their houses from participating. Because what we want is to know how many Nigerians there are for the purposes of planning. And there are so many do's and don'ts. Nigerians do not know what those things are. If you go to town today and you ask questions, not many people even know about the census. And that was why I had to write the article, to draw attention to the fact that it's not enough to do so much about the operations. There is a need for effective public enlightenment on the subject so that people will know what it's all about. There are many people who think about the other reasons for census. Some think it's a basis for finding out to tax people, so they evade and avoid it. Others think that, the number of people in our area will determine how much will come to us, and so sometimes they inflate the figures in their areas simply because they are not properly educated on the need for people to be patriotic about something like census, because figures should actually be the basis for planning. And that's why I was worried. But I saw the Director General of the National Orientation Agency on television talking about how they were collaborating with the National Population Commission. I was a little bit taken aback because I do not know what that collaboration means. Does it mean that National Orientation Agency has been empowered and equipped to mobilize Nigerians to embrace this policy? If not, we may jolly well be wasting so much of our time, because it's not enough to talk to people in the urban areas. There are many people living in the rural areas. My worry also was about the timing. At this point in time, it doesn't look auspicious at all. People will argue that, there is no time that is good for it. Whatever time you give, people are going to complain. But I think we need to be fair. The exercise that just ended, the elections, has left a lot of people in different kind of feelings. And those feelings will have impact on the reactions of people towards any other policy. So I think that publicity has been poor. The Population Commission says they are even doing a digital census. What does it mean? What are the facilities? How does it affect people? Is it something that we are sure is one can be assured about? Or is it like beavers that may on the day or during the period pack up or have glitches, or some people may choose not to use it even though it's compulsory? So these are issues that are on the ground, and I think there are too many to be put aside without talking about it. What is more, in 2016, we had an opportunity of doing a census. It was postponed. And the Population Commission told us that the government was not stable enough because it had just come in the year before. The government came in 2015, and it was not stable enough in 2016. And so the question is, now that we want to do it, which government is stable now? Is it the one going in a few weeks? Is it the one that has not come? This is obviously a very difficult time for doing a thing like this. I just hope that the body responsible will be able to catch it, and that it's not going to be the same thing that we give excuses and at the end of the day it doesn't work. But my greatest pain was the announcement by government that only 46% of funds needed by the Population Commission was on ground. So if the commission is not fully equipped, how will it perform magic when a commission that was fully equipped could not? I think these are the issues, Kayode.
Quite a lot of issues, and just to put it on record that we've reached out to the National Population Commission time and again just to speak to Nigerians on this, but we're yet to hear back from them. Hopefully we'll do soon so there can be a clear direction what will happen on May the 3rd. But as you said, the elections just held. But some would say even the census is bigger than the elections in some sense because it seeks to enumerate more people beyond the, over 90 million registered voters. This is beyond all of that. So some will say it's even as important, maybe even more than the elections, depending on what side of the argument people choose to be. So regarding the call by Afenifere, for example, that the census should not be conducted as at the time it was planned for. In fact, someone was in court just recently trying to stop the census from being conducted. Well, the court did not allow that. I wonder then how you would suggest the NPC, the NOA, to carry on from here, such that, well, while we want quality, we do not jeopardize quality on the platform of urgency.
Yeah, I agree with you, Kayode. To be frank, I think that if one were to make a suggestion, I personally believe that this is not the best of time for the census. Besides, it's just too close now. We just have a couple of days. And the comments and views that are coming out of the commission do not really help people, don't show a direction. Sometimes the Population Commission issues statements that concern only trainees, and they issue it to everybody, and sometimes people don't understand it. So training has been suspended, and people begin to think it is census itself that has been suspended. You see, in communication, you've got to be effective. You've got to ensure that people understand what you're saying, and that if they don't, you need to say it again by evolving a feedback mechanism that should help in ensuring that people fully appreciate and understand. Someone told me 2 days ago that there was a likelihood of a public holiday. Is that going to be? Is it not going to be? I mean, we don't just force this thing on people and expect that they will change their plans and begin to do something differently. I don't think that census is something that we should catch people unawares. I think it's something that should be properly planned and utilized properly. I do not know why the courts did not approve that, but it's possible that could be a technical issue. It was not properly brought well before the court. And I don't also know why Afenifere wanted it changed. But for me, I think that sufficient planning in terms of notification of what is being done to the public has not been done. Again, the National Population Commission, like all public institutions in Nigeria are bedeviled by the fact that government keeps putting on their laps the issue of publicity. These organizations do not have organs of communication. And we keep insisting that they must be in charge of the publicity of the event they are doing. Why do we have public media? Why do we have the the National Orientation Agency? Why do we have the News Agency of Nigeria? Why do we have the NTA? Why do we have the Radio Nigeria? Why do we have the Ministry of Information and the Nobel Vans and all of those things? Why is the National Population Commission that does not have journalists, does not have media people, does not have the equipment? Why are they being saddled with the idea of publicizing this? A body like National Orientation was set up to do this, to publicize government activities. Can't there be a proper collaboration that allows these bodies to take charge of that while the National Population Commission focuses on the operation of the events? I think these are things we should, even with elections, the same thing. INEC is given the chance to publicize. I don't know why, but I think we must begin to find a different way to look at how Nigerians should be mobilized into accepting a public policy.
Indeed.
In the case of National Population Commission, the situation is also very difficult because we are even talking about people who don't understand English. So it's not enough to use television and radio.
Indeed.
You need to take orientation officers who will go from house to house, telling the people the implications of what is coming and what they ought to do to ensure that it's successful.
And
I think
these
things are very important.
And you know better because you're a journalist of journalists, a communicator of communicators. And I'm glad that these points have been raised, and hopefully we'll get the NPC to speak to these issues. So far, still no word yet from the NPC, but I'd like to thank you so much for allowing us to drag you out. I know it's been quite a hectic day for you. Professor Tony Iredia is a former Director General of NOA, NTA, many caps he has won. Thank you so much, and it's great to see you again, sir.
Thank you, Coyote.